Hi, my name is Jordan, and if you want to keep a daily Bible reading habit in 2025, I'd love to invite you to join me as I read Proverbs in the month of January. Each day I'm reading one chapter of Proverbs, and at the end of the month, I'll have read the entire book. And each day I'm posting a video, sharing what I liked and what stood out to me about the chapter for that day. Today is day 5, so we are on chapter 5. Here's what stood out to me about it. Chapter 5 is an earnest warning against adultery. And when reading it, you can tell that Solomon is definitely very much caring for the reader of what he's writing. I think that David had passed down the same wisdom to him, David being someone who had committed adultery in his life, and it had brought pain into his life, and I'm sure he had taught Solomon to stay away from it. So now Solomon is now teaching his sons to stay away from it as well. And as we see in this chapter, Solomon shows the way that committing such a sin brings just unnecessary pain and suffering to your life that the person in the example hadn't thought about until it was too late. And so this was really just reminding me, just with sin in general, to have a true perspective on what it brings, and to just decide beforehand to live rightly and to act justly and to not give in to wrongdoing. It reminds me of a quote I heard at a youth summer camp from a youth pastor named Ben Graves, and he said, "While sin looks fun on the outside, on the inside it is actually a missile to destroy your soul." And I was like, wow, that really puts it into perspective on how serious sin is, on how much living wrongly can destroy us, and it motivates me to want to live rightly and experience that blessing rather than that pain that sin would cause. Even as it says in verse 3 and 4 of chapter 5, "For the lips of the adulterous woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil, but in the end she is bitter as gall, sharp as a double-edged sword," showing that this kind of sin, it looks enticing at first, but in the end it is bitter, it is bad for you, it is not good. And that's how just all sin is in general. While it may look fun or enticing, in the end it will bring us pain, it won't be good for us. And so this is just a good reminder, a good perspective bringer. And while this chapter may not apply to everyone, what does apply are these last 3 verses that say, "For your ways are in full view of the Lord, and he examines all your paths. The evil deeds of the wicked ensnare them, the cords of their sins hold them fast. For lack of discipline they will die, led astray by their own great folly," showing the weightiness and the seriousness of choosing to live rightly instead of living foolishly or giving into wrongdoing, showing that sin is something that could ensnare us or have us feel trapped, and that nothing that we do is hidden from God. This also makes me very thankful that we live now with the grace and the blood of Jesus, that we can ask for forgiveness at any point and that he will forgive us. But I'm also reminded of the truth and the principle that staying away from sin and living rightly brings us peace and prosperity in life, but choosing to give into wrongdoing, choosing to do what we know is not right, will ultimately bring pain and consequence in the end. And I don't want to live like that. We don't want to live like that. So it was just a good reminder today. Even though it's heavier, it was a reminder that we need, and a reminder that brings wisdom and that keeps us safe. So that's what stood out to me about chapter 5. If you've joined me on this journey already, I'd love to hear what God's been speaking to you through these Proverbs. You can let me know in the comments. I'd love to read those. And if you'd like to join me, I would be so happy if you join me. Let's start 2025 off strong. It's not too late to join me if you want to. I'll see you tomorrow for chapter 6.